Hey guys, today I want to show you some events that are foreshadowing the end of the age of Pisces and our transition into the age of Aquarius. And I'm also going to be talking about how this transition, the transitional event into the age of Aquarius, will be the Wormwood event from Revelation 8:11. And of course, this is the focus of my channel. And if we have time at the end, I'm going to show you how the events of 9/11/2001 also showed this transition. It was a symbolic transitional event from Pisces to Aquarius. And I'm going to be showing you guys a bunch of other Wormwood references. And I'm going to be talking about Hudson Bay. I've been showing you guys Hudson Bay since about mid-2018. How Hudson Bay is foreshadowed to be the location of the Wormwood event, the location of the events of Revelation. The falling Wormwood star will happen in Hudson Bay in Canada. Now just a quick overview of what the ages of Pisces and age of Aquarius is. We're already experiencing what would be the characteristics of the age of Aquarius. It's associated with electricity, computers, flight, democracy. So we're already experiencing these characteristics. And like I said, the Wormwood event is going to be the single event that's going to officially put us into the age of Aquarius and end the age of Pisces. And from an astrological perspective here, the age of Pisces is ruled by the planet Neptune, and Pisces is a water sign. And the age of Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus, and Aquarius is an air sign. And I'm going to be showing you some airplane rituals that have to do with Hudson Bay and Wormwood. This was a really big Aquarius, Hudson Bay, and Wormwood ritual. This Horizon Air crash in Seattle that happened back in 2018. I'm going to go through this with you guys here. But I'm going to do a little review first of some other Hudson Bay stuff I've shown you before, just to show you all the 9/11 and 8/11s associated with Hudson Bay. Just kind of as a refresher here. But keep in mind that this transition from Pisces to Aquarius is we're going from a water sign to an air sign. That's part of the symbolism that we're looking for. This happened on January 15th, 2009. Flight 1549 landed on the Hudson River, and it was supposedly brought down by Canadian geese. And of course, Hudson Bay is in Canada. And the connection to Wormwood here is that Flight 1549, if we look at this 1549 as a time on the clock, the time of 1549 that leaves 8 hours and 11 minutes in the day for our reference to Revelation 8:11. 8 hours and 11 minutes is 491 minutes. Uranus rules the age of Aquarius. Uranus sums to 94 in ordinal Gematria. The 94th prime is 491. 491 minutes is 8 hours 11 minutes. And of course we had the airplane landing on the water for our Pisces, Aquarius symbolism. Another one I've showed you before, this is a scene from War of the Worlds. This is the Bayonne Bridge being destroyed in War of the Worlds. And Bayonne Bridge is located in Hudson County, New Jersey. Remember the Twin Towers? These were the location of the Twin Towers. They overlook Hudson River. Flight 1549 landed on the Hudson River, just short of the Lincoln Tunnel. The mouth of the Hudson River pours into the bay here. We have Sandy Hook Bay. Remember we had the Sandy Hook shooting. Sandy Hook shooting was another reference probably to this mouth of Hudson Bay and its location. You can see that the docks here are shaped like the trident for our reference to Neptune. This is the actor Rock Hudson. He made a movie called Star Maker. And immediately, or the next movie that he made after Star Maker was the miniseries called World War III. Star Maker, of course, being a reference to the falling Wormwood star. Now if we look at the Gematria of Age of Aquarius. Age of Aquarius sums to 141. 141st prime is 811. Just like Revelation 8:11 is the 141st verse of Revelation. So we have Age of Aquarius sums to 141. World War III sums to 141. Also, same as Age of Aquarius. World War III share that same gematria. Now let's take a look at the Hudson Bay Wikipedia page. Hudson Bay is considered part of the Arctic Ocean, and specifically Arctic Ocean Subdivision 9.11. So there's a 9/11 connection. 9/11 happened in New York that overlooked, the Twin Towers overlooked Hudson River. Hudson Bay is Arctic Ocean Subdivision 9/11. Now if we look at the creation of the Hudson Bay Wikipedia page, it was created at 10:29 on June 21st, 2002 with 1,511 bytes. We're going to take a look at the time first, 10:29. (10:29) is 629 minutes into the day. So that leaves 811 minutes. The time of 10:29 leaves 811 minutes in the day. June 21st, 2002. If we look at that in relation to 9/11, 2001, we have a span of 9 months, 11 days. So the Hudson Bay Wikipedia page was created 9 months, 11 days after 9/11. It was started with 1,511 bytes. time of 1511 is 911 minutes into the day. So with this creation of the Hudson Bay page, we have 811, 911, and 911 all coded into it. Hudson Bay is part of Arctic Ocean Subdivision 911. And at the end here, I'll show you how the events of 9/11 were symbolizing this transition from Pisces to Aquarius. So if we look at the World Trade Complex, I'm going to show you how it's related to Uranus. Uranus is the 7th planet from the Sun, and Uranus rules the age of Aquarius. So Uranus is the 7th planet, and we look at World Trade Center, World Trade 7. It was destroyed on 9/11, but reconstruction began on May 7th, 2002. That's 238 days after 9/11. 238 days after 9/11. We had the reconstruction of World Trade Center 7. And the connection here is that uranium has an atomic weight of 238. And the atomic number of uranium is 92. Now I'm going to show you some other, I might as well just show them to you right now here. I'll show you how this number 92 is related to the Chernobyl event. I've mentioned this before. But we had the Chernobyl disaster on April 26, 1986. I've never shown this. I've had a few people question me on it, but I've never actually showed where I got the information. Chernobyl is a partially abandoned city in the Chernobyl exclusion zone in Ukraine. And the etymology of the city's name is the same as one of the Ukrainian names for Artemisia vulgaris, which is mugwort or common wormwood. So Chernobyl means wormwood. And I'm going to show you this ritual here to uranium, the 92nd element. So we have Uranus, which rules the age of Aquarius. Voyager 2 is the only space probe to fly by that planet, and it flew by on January 24th, 1986. So we had our flyby of Voyager 2, flew by the planet Uranus. Then we had Chernobyl, 92 days after the flyby. For our reference to uranium, of course, Chernobyl was a nuclear power plant that used uranium for fuel. Now, one more thing I want to show here with Chernobyl. If we look at the Yiddish spelling of Chernobyl, it sums to 662, and the 662nd prime is 4951. If we go back and look at this Voyager space probe, After it flew by Uranus, it flew by Neptune, and it was a distance of 4951. Right, we're transitioning from Neptune, from Pisces to Uranus, Aquarius, 4951. The 662nd prime, Chernobyl. Just want to show you guys that Voyager reference real quick. And there's more to this World Trade Center 7, but I'll just leave it at that for now. The 238 connection to the atomic weight of uranium, being the 7th planet in World Trade Center 7. Now, uranium is also the heaviest naturally occurring element. If we look at Back to the Future, if you're familiar with the franchise, they use the word heavy a lot in this franchise. There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull? I think all this heavy is a reference to uranium. And if you know Back to the Future, of course, the DeLorean is powered by plutonium. And if we look at if I can find it here. Uranium-derived plutonium-239. Oh, here we go. So, plutonium-239 is derived from uranium-238. That's what we have here in Back to the Future, the DeLorean powered by plutonium. And plutonium-239. The way to get it is to use uranium-238. Uranium, the heaviest element. Now this is a ritual here. This plane crash I'm going to show you guys is a ritual to Uranus. In astrology, Uranus is the modern ruling planet of Aquarius. And Uranus is the personification or the god of the sky. And it has an unusual characteristic in that it's a planet that rotates on its side. You can see here the symbol for Uranus. So Uranus is the god of the sky, or the sky king. You can see how the symbol, if you're familiar with this plane crash that happened, this is the most common picture they use. They have the orientation of the plane on its side, just like the orientation of Uranus has its poles facing the sun. Uranus is the sky king, or the god of the sky. Now this is the guy that hijacked the plane, Richard Bebo Russell. The Sky King is his nickname. Now if we go look at the Wikipedia page for this happened on August 10th, 2018. 29-year-old Richard Russell he hijacked this plane at 1932 local time, or 1932 Seattle time, or 7:32 p.m. And that time was 2:32 on the universal time. There's a lot of references here that I'm going to go through. But if we look at 2:32 universal time, that's 152 minutes into the day. If we look at our first occurrence of the 811 in pi, it happens at the position 152. It happened on 152 minutes into the day universal time on August 11th, 7:32 p.m. on August 10th, local Seattle time. So there's our first 811. Now this guy Richard Russell, his nickname was Bebo, Bebo Russell. And shortly after the incident, observers on internet forums began referring to Russell as the Sky King, as a tribute to his ability at flying the aircraft. And then Russell's family released a statement on August 11th. They were stunned and heartbroken and devastated by the events. They came out with that statement on 8/11. He crashed the plane on 8/10, which is a reference to Revelation 8:10. His plane was the symbolic star that fell from heaven. That star is Wormwood from Revelation 8:11. That's what they're referring to here. Now this is something that Bobby Simpson had pointed out to me for our Hudson Bay connection. It wasn't too long before this happened that I had started documenting Hudson Bay on my videos. And this was a great find by Bobby Simpson. This plane was crashed on Ketron Island. And Ketron Island, the island was originally named Kitson Island by Charles Wilkes during the Wilkes expedition, but was misspelled Ketron by his cartographers. The island was named for William Kitson, an employee of the Hudson's Bay Company. And here's our reference to on the Ketron Island page. They show this August 10th, 2018 crash here. But the island was named after a Hudson Bay employee, William Kitson. But it was misspelled Ketron. So there's our Hudson Bay connection. That was a great connection found by Bobby Simpson for me. Now if we go back and look at this guy's nickname, Bebo, I'm going to show you the rest of this. This guy has a Sky King tribute page on Facebook, and also on a Remembering Bebo Russell, all on Facebook here. You can see that the picture they use is him holding up two dogs, and this is a reference to Sirius. If I can find it here. Sirius is the dog star, and Sirius is a binary or twin star. Sirius A and Sirius B make up the dog star Sirius. So that's why on his Facebook page he's holding up the two dogs for Sirius A and Sirius B. Now this picture that they're showing here, Appears several times on this tribute page, but this last time that it showed up was on November 4th, 2019. We take a look at that date. He crashed his plane on 8/10/2018. And that last picture was posted on 11/4/2019, 451 days after the crash. And 451 is the sum of the 9th and 11th tetrahedral numbers. The 9th tetrahedral number is 165. 11th tetrahedral number is 286. So more 9/11 coding, or Sirius coding. Now there's an interesting discrepancy here with this Bebo Russell guy. It says he was 29 years old, but if we look at his birth date, his birthday was given as 9/19/1989. It says he was born on 9/19/1989. So on the day of the crash, he was technically only 28 years old, but all the information that you look up shows that he was 29, and I think this was done intentionally. If we back this up to 1988 and make him the correct age of 29, we're going to get the secret to the nickname Bebo. Bebo is a character from DC Legends of Tomorrow, and this character first appeared in Season 3, Episode 9 of Legends, December 5th, 2017. So when that character Bebo appeared, he was 29 years, 77 days after his birth. And of course, there were 2,977 victims on 9/11. So I think that's why they have the discrepancy. It was actually 29, so his birthday would be in 88. That's where we get the origin of his nickname Bebo. In DC Legends, this character Bebo is known as the God of War. Kind of a goofy character. Bebo, the God of War. He shows up in several episodes of this DC Legends. But his first appearance was 29 years, 77 days after the birth of Bebo Russell, our 9/11 reference. Here's one more connection to Uranus here I want to show you guys. Now if we look at the planet Uranus, it was discovered on 3/13/1781. The date of 3/13, I've been looking at that number and showing you guys that 3/13 for a little while here. So we have the events of 9/11 happened in the 212 area code, and we have the beginning of the Chinese ox year on 2/12/2021. We had 313 days. It gets us to 12/22/21. And I have the Night King here from the Game of Thrones. Remember, the Night King comes from the north, just like Hudson Bay. Is directly north of the United States. The White Walkers come from the north in Game of Thrones. And if you look at the last episode of the Game of Thrones, it was on 5/19/2019. We had 31 months and 3 days. That also gets us to 12/22/2021. 2/3/13 connections, going back to the discovery date of Uranus. Uranus is known as an ice giant. Neptune and Uranus are known as the two ice giant planets. Right here. They have the Night King that comes from the north. Now to show you guys the 9/11 connection here to Aquarius and Pisces. If you look at the twin towers were unique in their construction as part of their structural integrity, as part of their load-bearing structure was on the outside of the building. And these columns, of course, are shaped as tridents. Tridents, symbol of Neptune, and Neptune, the ruler of Pisces. And just like a fish, it has hard protective outer scales. So do the twin towers have this outer protective covering of tridents. So I think symbolically these two towers would represent the twin fish or the two fish of Pisces. And there's a connection here with the towers also to Revelation 8:11. If we look at the Gematria value of Revelation 8:11, it sums to 1377. And this is something that Lambda 115 had pointed out in one of his videos. But the observation deck on the south tower, the platform is at a height of 1377. So the observation deck on the south tower is 1377 feet, going back to our Gematria value of Revelation 8:11. That was a good find by Lambda. I'll leave a link in the description to one of his videos. So we had the twin towers that were taken out by airplanes. Our airplanes represent Aquarius, the air sign. And 9/11 was the ritual destruction of Neptune. The outer skin of the buildings were these trident-shaped structural beams. So we had Aquarius destroying Neptune, symbolically here. Our transition from Neptune to Uranus, Pisces to Aquarius. Then we look at the 9/11 memorials. Pisces water sign, we have the water draining out of the footprint of the twin towers, symbolically draining the water from the age of Pisces. Aquarius is our water bearer. He's pouring out the water. And this is the 9/11 memorial in Jerusalem. You can see it's a wave, like the symbol for Aquarius is the wave. Aquarius is an air sign. Okay guys, I know I covered a lot there. Hudson Bay, very important. In my next video, I'm going to talk about this eclipse that's going to happen over Hudson Bay on June 10th, 2021. There's an annular solar eclipse that will pass over Hudson Bay on 6/10, 2021. It's an interesting date. 610 is the 15th Fibonacci number. But I'll go over this in my next video, this eclipse, and I'm going to talk about some other things as well. Talk about Eddie Van Halen and Back to the Future, and how they are showing this eclipse here over Hudson Bay. Okay guys, hopefully that made sense. Just a lot of 9/11, 8/11 rituals to show. It's all connected. I think it's all pointing to this transition from Pisces to Aquarius. I never showed you the true astronomical boundary here, but maybe I can show you that some other time. But I think that's what they're foreshadowing here with all this Neptune and Uranus symbolism, water and air, uranium. Okay guys, thanks for watching.